Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all today? Are you well? I do hope so. I'm continuing from the video you would have seen the other day, doing all my little tinker time jobs. Oh, I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. You can see next to me here for now until I get ready to pack my bag to go home. I've just got my rosemary resting and oh, the smell is just so beautiful. I've got a feeling some of the cats are going to be going home to their owners smelling of rosemary because they've all been in here cuddling. I haven't packed my bag yet because I still haven't unpacked it from arriving a few hours ago, but I've got a load of cardboard, brilliant, to finish covering the ex-flint corn bed. Never mind that. So, little jobs to do today, or to continue doing today, are some of the jobs I'm doing bearing in mind that we are soon going to be getting a bit colder. It's weird because at the moment it feels really mild at the moment. That's because we've got another weather front coming across the Atlantic. There's a whole lot of rain to come, and that's kind of just keeping us a bit milder at the moment. However, we did have 2 really quite heavy frosts a week ago. Is it a week ago? It's about a week ago. And that always turns my mind to thinking about these things that I need to do today, which I explain when we go out there. So we're going to be starting on the deck, doing a few bits and bobs on the deck. I didn't, in that last video, I didn't dig the rhubarb out and move it over to the deck, and I might do that today. But one of the other things I really want to get done today is plant these freesias that Paul gave to me when Richard and Paul came over for their social bubble. So I decided I don't think I have room in the herb bed for them. Oh, I might see if I can stuff a couple in there. So I've got a different idea for them, which I will share with you. So yes, deck, bulbs, and then let's do a harvest. The first one, there's a parsnip. I showed it to you in my tour. I showed you its sort of shoulders sticking out of the ground, and I have no idea whether it's all fur coat and no knickers or whether it's a good one. That's one of the things I love about our root crops is it's treasure, it's buried treasure. We do not know what we're going to get until we go in there. It may be it may be a little stumpy bumpy, who knows, but because we've had these couple of frosts now, they should be nice and sweet. A couple of my plot friends have had their first parsnips out and said that they're really good. So yeah, I can't walk up and down this path one more day seeing it out the corner of my eye and not have it out. So we'll have that out too. Right, but first of all, let's go to the deck and start to think about looking after things which could be damaged when we start to get really cold. Right, get that ready. It's probably clear that at this time of year the deck becomes a bit of a dishevelled mess. I'm just quickly chopping up this bit of fennel detritus from the fennel I harvested the other day. I took the outer leaves off and I just left them on my table. Yeah, it gets to be a bit of a dishevelled mess at this time of year. You know, it hasn't been important. However, I am going to give it some attention today because, for example, this is the kind of day when I'm going to trip up, I just know it. All of my lovely little pelargoniums, although I'm just going to snip off these dead flower heads, they are pretty hardy little plants, but they will succumb to a really hard frost, or not necessarily a hard frost, but if we get a frost that lasts and lasts, they'll succumb. Also, while I'm at it, where any weeds have blown in during the summer or been deposited by the birds, have them out. And then what I'm going to do with them all is, where are we? Speak and snip, Vivi. Yeah, I'm going to pop them in the shed. This year, for the first time, it's an experiment. I'm loving the experiments at the moment. And now, I'm happy to give that a go because it should, in theory, I think it should be just enough protection for them. Let's say it's not, and let's say the whole lot get killed off in there over the winter. Not to worry, because I have 4 mother plants that I keep at home. They were plants I raised from seed, I think 4 years ago. 2 pinks, a red and a white. And each year I take my cuttings from them. So in theory, if this lot do cop it, I've got replacements. So I'm not too worried. Now, the other thing I'm just going to gather up today as well, I'm going to come back and do a second trip for this, for my terracotta trough. Yeah, speaking of terracotta, the other thing is some of the little pots and bits and bobs I use on the deck through the summer and late into autumn this year. Oh, hold on. I've got this. Oh my goodness. This was, I don't know if you can see, this was taken out of a tree. And I thought, oh, that'll be useful as a support. And before I could deal with all the spiky bits on the edge, my tomatoes were having a bit of a flopsy moment. And again, it was one of Richard and Paul's visits. So I asked Paul, and he lashed it into my tomatoes to help them. And oh, it's a clumsy day today. Sorry. Yeah, it worked a treat, but it's in the way, and I need to snip all the sidey bits off, and then I can stack it with my bean poles. Move that, Vivi. Yes. So as I was saying. Things like terracotta pots, unless you know that they're frost proof, don't risk it because they will shatter. My trough has shattered on the inside. I mean, it's still usable, but it's a bit duffed up. But yeah, for the sake of a few minutes to gather things together and bring them inside, it's worth it to save, because they're not cheap, are they, terracotta? The other thing, again, I don't know if she's frost proof, is my lovely little reading pixie from Julie. She's definitely going to come inside. Right, I need to fix the bee house. I'm going to pop it there for the minute though. Then my lovely wooden box. Some things I will put in the cold frame if it's not sort of frost sensitive, like wooden things. I'll put them in the cold frame just to keep them out of the worst of the rain over the winter. Yeah, don't want things to rot prematurely. What's next? Oh, and bunting, of course. I'm pretty late taking the bunting down. This isn't my bunting. I've got to say, I make mine on a much thicker and stronger webbing than this. This I picked up, oh, I don't know, I think I picked it up in a charity shop ages ago. Completely forgot I had it. And then when I was decorating the plot for Paul's birthday, I was rummaging in one of my baskets for I can't get to it. Hang on a sec. Yeah, I was rummaging in one of my baskets for a tablecloth. And I found it and I thought, oh yes, let's have it out. But it really, it's really on very, very thin, a very thin sort of webbing. It's not even a webbing, it's pretty much like bias binding. And I honestly don't think it'll last the winter, being flapped around. So it can come off, come home, have a wash, have a press, be tucked away for the next time. How have I got that through there? Right, that's going to take me a moment, so I shall do that while you're not here. Also, sort of odds and sods of plastic pots, like I've got chocolates, you know, those kind of family pack chocolates selections you get. That's from my nursing days. The amount of chocolates we get given as nurses, thank you. But they make great little pots to put your plant pot in to act as a drip tray. So when we're having a long hot summer and we're watering, it's not just all running out. They can come in. Then, let me show you a bit more closely. I just want to show you these little pots here. Well, you can see very obviously my peppers, oops, they bit the dust in the frost, so they're going to come out. But also, you can see behind here, this is all weeds, and this was communal compost I used to top up these pots. I was very grateful for it because it's when I was having trouble getting hold of any compost. Really grateful for it, but it just shows, it's absolutely riddled with weeds. So all of this can come out today. And then in the black grow bag where I had peppers, they're going to come out today as well. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of the freesias in there, because that will be a lovely, lovely early splash of colour next year. But none of that will happen until I get these cleared. So that can be my next job. Now that I've managed to clear the deck a bit, I finally have space to put the broad beans out here, the cell-sown broad beans. I put them in the cold frame purely because of lack of space here. The cold frame windows have all been open, so they've not really had, they probably had maybe a degree of protection more in there than they would have had out in the garden, but hardly. I'm really glad to get this done today because I'd completely forgotten, and it's a bit remiss of me. All the cells, they're in cells of sort of 50, and they're in like their own little cell packs. They then sit into a tray. So I had them all in these, my gravel trays. Now the thing with gravel trays is they don't have holes, unlike a seed tray, which has holes. So of course, because the roof of the cold frame has been open, we've had all this rain, they were absolutely sopping wet. The trays were completely full of water. Eek! I don't know why I put them in gravel trays, if I'm honest. No idea. I can't believe I would have had a rationale for doing it. Anyway, not to worry. So I've swapped out all the gravel trays now for seed trays, so there's plenty of drainage. I've kept the tool on them for now, but it's on really, really baggily. I think sort of, I don't want to jinx myself, not against the mice, but I don't want birds to be coming down and having a jolly good peck of any of them. So, yeah, hopefully they'll do okay. It looks now like I sowed 60. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 60 that haven't germinated. It's not because they've been had away by the mice, they just haven't germinated. They may well yet germinate, I don't know. But it doesn't matter because 57 plants, plus what I've got out in the open bed, that's absolutely, that's fine. That's more than enough. I may have some even that I could give away, which is always a lovely thing to be able to do. And they won't stay here for too much longer. I'll keep an eye on them, but when they're good sturdy little plants, when I can see roots coming out of the bottom of their cells, I'll transplant them out into the open bed and they can get on with their own thing all winter. Right, I'm so glad I've got that done. Honestly, they were absolutely saturated wet, so wet. I'm surprised they haven't rotted. Actually, maybe the ones that haven't germinated have rotted. Really remiss of me. Please learn from my mistake. Don't have things in gravel trays when there's tons and tons and tons of rain coming down. Okay, glad that's done. Now, let's move this way and do some planting. Yay and hooray for the first lot of freesias. So as you can see, I've taken the peppers out, I've taken my weeds out. This compost feels nice and loose. I've never grown freesias before and I'm really excited to try. So, you know, planting bulbs, it's the same principle applies to pretty much all bulbs, and I'm figuring, well, I managed to grow garlic and onion from bulbs each year, so I should be able to grow a few little freesias. So there's a top and a bottom. The small pointy end is the top, the flat bottom end is the base. I did have a quick look up online last night about depth and spacing, and what I read was that they need to be planted 5 centimetres deep, which isn't that deep. So I think what I'm going to do, I've got about half of them here from that bag. I'm just going to start plonking them on the top here. It's always that thing, isn't it, of trying to plant them as randomly as possible so they're sort of natural looking. I suppose what I could do is just throw them and that would give me a properly natural look, but to be honest, I think I'm going to be popping so many in here that, well, yeah, I'm crowding them in, whether I throw them in the air or not. So yeah, as I said, I've got about half of the bag here, possibly a little bit more than half the bag, and then the rest of them I'm going to put in my terracotta trough. Will I do that today? The thing is, we're supposed to be dry all day today, but whilst I was getting the peppers out of here and chopped up and into the compost and getting the weeds out and whatever, there were a few spots of rain, some pretty dark clouds up there. The wind has picked up somewhat. I don't trust that I'm not about to be completely washed out of my day yet again. Still, I managed to get a few useful jobs done. Right, I'm not going to show you me planting all of these because it's going to take me a little while, but just to say, after I've got them all in, I've got my old riddle, my soil riddle, that I'm just going to put over the top. Two things. One, to discourage the cats from thinking it's a high-rise kitty litter, but mainly against the squirrels. Just like I was saying the other day when I was planting in the bulbs in the herb bed and putting the grit down, I don't have any grit left. A, I don't want the squirrels to dig these up, and B, I don't want the squirrels to come along and plant a load of acorns in here, because as much as I love oak trees, oh, this is not the right place for an oak tree to grow. Believe me, if I had land of my own, I would plant trees, but allotment sites are not for tree planting. Okay, so let me get these planted in, get the riddle on the top to hopefully stop the squirrels. Then I need to get my fork out of the shed. But at the moment, there's a cat sleeping above where it is. So I'm going to let the cat sleep a while I get on with this. And then go and move him so I can get my fork. Goodness me. Actually, oh, this feels nice. I'm not going to keep you here the whole time, but this is nice. These compost to be poking my finger in. And you know, just like when I was doing the garlic, isn't it wonderful at this time of year to get one's hands in the muck and be planting? Planting is definitely, oh, nature's way of giving us a chance for optimism. Oh yeah, Pack them in, Gregory, pack them in. What I don't want to do is accidentally leave one of them on the top as a clue to the squirrels and then think, oh, that's really worth kind of gnawing through the bag to get at them. No sorry, Bob, no sorry. All right, my lovelies, go and have a cup of tea or something, and I tell you what, while you're in the shed having your cup of tea, give the cat a cuddle and then shoo him off, will you, so I can get to my tools. Gosh, it's looking bare. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm really glad to have got those little jobs done today. You know, dead and dying plant matter out of these, chopped up, composted. My freesias sown. Oh, I hope they come up. They'll be gorgeous. Broad beans now properly out. So the only other thing to do, obviously the bunting is down. The only other thing to do for in sort of the deck area, will I do it today? I'm not sure. Can I be bothered? Is to get this rhubarb out of here. Pretty much died back, because then, you know, even if it's a washing up bowl or something, just to sink in here to have more water for the wildlife, and then move the rhubarb over to this end, pop it in here. I can't get over how this verbena has taken so well. These were such scrappy little plants from Gary, but yeah, gorgeous. So that will be the last job really to do on the deck end and with the herb bed. Oh yes, probably, oh yeah, a bit of weeding. It's not too bad. Oh, that lovely little calendula, solitary calendula. And the feverfew just keeps going and keeps going. But yeah, it's not too bad for weeds by the looks of it. But it is a good time of year to get in there and have a really good look. Because obviously, at the height of summer, when all this lavender is going bonkers, it's kind of hard to get in there and see. Gorgeous day. It's so still and so quiet. So the next job, we're going to go right up there. We're going to stick a fork in the ground. Actually, I haven't looked at these since t'other day through the net. I know it's really hard to see, isn't it? But yeah, so far so good. Pesky mises. Right, let's go and get that fork, which means disturbing a kitty. But my belly is rumbling. I want to get some food out, so never mind sleeping cats. Let's go digging. So I've come up to bed number 2, to where I've got my parsnips and calendula. And this one, this is the one, whoa, that's been teasing me. Now, it's right next to another, can you see? So I think I'm going to end up having 2 out at once. And like I say, it looks a stonker, but there may be absolutely nothing underneath. So, rather optimistically, I have the fork. I hope it's deep. Let's get digging. Here's one of the joys of growing root veg. This never quite knowing what's down there and hoping. Hope. Oh my goodness, see? It looks more like a turnip than a parsnip. Never mind, there is some flesh on it. Oh my goodness, that's pathetic. Oh, what a disappointment. Right, well, I've seen another one like this, so I'm gonna, let's pop along and see if, oh, where did I see it? You know, where did I see it? Oh, I can't find it now. Give me a second. Well, I'm going to try again here. Just looking around at others. Again, I've got two snuggled right up to each other. Put it this way, those two I just pulled out aren't even one feed. Oh, that's a bit more hopeful. I don't know if you can see because all the foliage is in the way. Actually, with the ground being so wet, it's actually nice and loose for getting them up. Oh, that's more like it. Let's have a look at that one. So, skinny, skinny but long. So it's like a foot and a half long, but it's super skinny. You know what, maybe I should just leave the rest to fatten up. I think that's what I will do. But I'll certainly enjoy chowing down on these ones. Those parsnips make me laugh. Oh my goodness, you win some, you lose some. You know, this year, carrots, wash out, beans, a struggle. But you know what? It's okay because there's so much of everything else. I am not too disappointed. It's more just that thing of you want to pull it out and go, oh, isn't it gorgeous, isn't it beautiful? Put it this way, they're a feed and I will really enjoy them. Now, just before I go, because I'm going to wind up in a minute because I have got the stuff all around the outside of the shed where I need to sort things out, stow things away, get the pelargoniums into the shed, need to make space on the counter for the pelargoniums, blah, blah, blah. So I reckon I've got a good sort of half an hour of tidying up to do. I've still got to put the cardboard over on the flint corn, ex-flint corn bed, etc. It's getting really dark. I do think it's about to lash down and I don't really fancy getting freezing cold, soaking wet today. So, yeah, I'm going to pretty much wrap up with you guys and do all my sorting, do a couple of last little things and then head home. But I just wanted to say, because for the last couple of days I've been thinking about that parsnip. I was imagining this gorgeous roast a whole parsnip and it would be a meal. Never mind. But in thinking about it, I was suddenly thinking about the leaves. And because in the past, I've always just, I chop the leaves off. Oh, muddy girl. I chop the leaves off, chop them up, put them straight into the compost or chuck them on the bed as mulch, whatever. And I suddenly thought, oh, I wonder if they're edible. Because, so for instance, I know a lot of you already do it, but our carrot tops are edible. I know a lot of people make, pesto, a kind of pesto using the carrot tops. Brilliant. I generally use mine for making stock. So invariably I'll have a pile of carrot tops, onion skins, all those little bits and bobs. So I thought, I wonder if it's true of parsnips. So I went online. I spent ages searching, trying all kinds of different combinations of questions and keywords and what have you. And I can't really give you a definitive answer. Most places I looked talked about parsnip leaves and skin irritation, photosensitivity. So the juice of the parsnip leaves, if you get it on your skin, for some people it can be really horrible skin irritant. Think of, I think it's hogweed that's the same, isn't it? It's a really bad skin irritant. And what can happen is that area of skin that got sensitized by getting the sap of the leaves on it, further down the line, even years down the line, can remain photosensitive. In other words, 2 years later, you're out in the garden doing something, and where that skin is exposed to the sunlight, the sun on it can bring back that terrible irritation all over again. It can cause blistering, itchiness, So we know that about parsnip leaves, or if you didn't know, you know now. So I always wear my gloves when I'm harvesting my parsnips. Now because of that, that was what was making me think, gosh, if they're such an irritant, maybe they're not good to eat, I don't know. So I looked and I looked and I looked, and pretty much every source that I looked at was referring to the skin irritation, that no one was sort of prepared to come out and say categorically the leaves are poisonous to eat, or not necessarily poisonous but could cause stomach upset. I didn't see anyone saying that, but no, there were no sites saying yes, eat them, except for one. It was a bit random, and because it was only one amongst dozens and dozens I looked at, I personally am not going to eat them. But I did find one site referring to a region of Spain. I think it's called, is it called Galicia? Galicia? I'm sorry if I've pronounced that incorrectly. But there is apparently there's a traditional dish there made with parsnip leaves. Yeah, who knows? If you know better than me, please tell me. If you've been eating them yourself for years, let us know. But I would say I'm quite cautious with these things, and unless it's been, say, shown to me by my grandma, and I've learnt from her practice and done it myself, I'm always really cautious about eating anything new. And I think it's probably better to be cautious than to be reckless and end up, you know, at best with horrible gastro disturbances, or at worst, you know. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed not to be able to find something that suggests uses for them, even if it's, you know, like a parsnip leaf soup. I don't know. Anyway, never mind the leaves. The roots are gorgeous, so I'm going to give mine a bit of a clean and tidy up, get them home, get them in the oven. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. So for now, it's time for me to say cheerio to you, one and all. As always, thank you for coming and hanging out with me in the garden today, on this day that is becoming more and more overcast and more tempestuous looking. Thank you. Excuse me, I'll see you again really soon. I don't know, what will I be doing next? I don't know. We're kind of moving into the time of year when it's going to be a bit more indoorsy. I'll probably, I can't speak, I will probably be cutting fabric or something. Anyway, whatever it is, hopefully I'll see you then. But until then, please look after yourselves, look after each other, look after your cats. This cat's coming back up the path. And make the most of any outdoor time that you can. Bye for now.